Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here and welcome to BBallBreakdown. First things first, one last day to order t-shirts in our inaugural campaign. So get in the conversation and get one. High quality, really cool stuff. Also, I'll be doing a halftime show and post-game show after tonight's game between the Warriors and the Grizzlies. So don't miss that. We'll get you a link ASAP. Follow me on Twitter. You can ask questions as well. Well, now let's talk a little bit about the Cavaliers versus the Bulls because it was an insane game. Lots of things going on. So what I wanted to focus in on is how the Bulls were attacking Kyrie Irving on defense because clearly he was hobbled. And you would think that that would be a matchup that they would really want to exploit. They did a decent job in Game 3 with that, but we didn't really see them do enough in Game 4 to fully take advantage of this mismatch. Also, J.R. Smith, not enough is being said about his incredible shot making in the fourth, so we'll show you how he did that. And I brought Ronnie Nunn in to talk a little bit about the end of the game because clearly we need a ref to help us make sense of all that craziness that happened. The Bulls start the second half by immediately getting into a screen and roll with Dunleavy and Butler. Great ball screen, half-hearted hedge by Kyrie, but the spacing was off. It was too close to the midline of the court. The double down screen on the right side allows Mozgov to easily be in the way and force the mid-range pull-up that Jimmy Butler can't hit. In the Bulls' motion offense, we see some recognition of attacking Kyrie. Rose hits a pin down on him, and you can see how slow he is running on that foot. Out of the pure triangle, the Bulls run Dunleavy through pinch post action. Kyrie can't keep up at all, and LeBron is able to sneak in there to slap the ball away. Dunleavy tries to take advantage on a weak side cut. Great bounce pass by Noah, but he can't finish through a little bit of contact in the back. With Snell in there because of Dunleavy foul trouble, they swing it and screen Kyrie on the ball. Almost no resistance, and Snell makes the nice pass for the Noah dunk. More pinch post action out of the triangle as Noah breaks into the dribble pitch option to Snell coming out of the corner. Kyrie is stuck way behind and Snell feeds Noah again, but Noah tries to dribble it, a big no-no, and can't get the shot off. Rose's one-footed floating bank shot doesn't go down either. Another simple dribble pitch off of reversal, and the Bulls again attack Kyrie and get an advantage. Mozgov, however, gets back to Noah and offers beautiful help. This is the problem with having Noah on offense. The Bulls seem to be having a hard time getting organized on offense, as Snell kind of sets a ball screen but runs away. Then Butler wants Taj to go screen, ends up screening himself but slips it. Snell sets another ball screen but is sent away. And finally, Taj does come over to set a ball screen. This doesn't seem like a set that has easy shot written all over it, but look at the beautiful cross-court laser Rose throws. LeBron is there, but Butler nails the shot anyway. Another screen set by Snell seems to be rejected by Rose, and when he cuts away to the corner, then switches to the wing, the Cavs are momentarily confused. Rose has a chance to attack LeBron, which he'd been doing with some success, but ends up taking a 20-footer with 10 seconds left. This time, Mirotic sets a quick drag screen and the Bulls have Kyrie on Rose. But Rose gives it up to Mirotic, who needs to make this into a three-point shot, instead taking a long two that bricks. Dunleavy finally sets another ball screen for Rose and they get the switch. But instead of Rose attacking, they ball screen again, allowing J.R. Smith to switch over to him. That said, somehow the Bulls were able to create 3 points out of all this. Now let's look at how important J.R. Smith was to the proceedings, hitting 4 key clutch jumpers to keep the Cavaliers within striking distance. After Kyrie tries to probe and is clearly hobbled with foot problems, the offense stagnates to a standstill. When this happens, your offense has to rely on individual shot making, and look at this gorgeous behind the back step back, great defense by Mirotic, but greater shot making by JR. With LeBron on the bench, the Cavs get much better movement, using pistol action to find JR on the weak side fill. Even though Snell plays this correctly, J.R. Smith still hits the 3-ball in his face. Here's similar action, and this time LeBron is the one who finds him on the weak side fill. Here's some clever offense. JR is part of this double down screen out of Hawk. Normally it's Shumpert who gets the 2 screens and shoots it, but watch J.R. Smith pop out early, get the screen from Mozgov, and nail the long ball. Now let's move to the last minute, where Coach Thibodeau had already used all of his timeouts, and Cleveland had 3 left. In a 2-for-1 situation down by 5, the Bulls get Jimmy Butler the ball on an ISO at the right wing. In Game 3, they had cleared out that entire side for him, and he got the layup. In Game 4, however, Noah is in his way, but the cross-court dribble does get a switch to Tristan Thompson on the Butler, and somehow he steps back and gets this 3-ball off, and it swishes. After the make, here's the situation. There is virtually not enough time left for the Bulls to get the ball back, especially without any timeouts. The Bulls must foul the Cavs. At first glance, I thought this was a mistake to waste a timeout that they might need later, But then I realized he was able to get Kyrie and Jones in for Thompson and Shumpert, who are much better foul shooters. The Bulls certainly intended to try to get a steal before fouling, since they had a few seconds to play with, so the inbounds play seemed pretty crucial to me. We certainly see someone with a clipboard drawing up a play, but I can assure you what they ended up running, which forced them into calling 2 more timeouts, was not designed by a coach. Everyone is spaced across the floor, and here's Delly whispering something to the ref, probably something about inbounding the ball to the backcourt in the last 2 minutes, which they can. Not one screen was set, and the idea that you'd have J.R. Smith cut to the ball just inside the half-court line, where he can be trapped with no way out, is insane. Forced to call a timeout to avoid a steal, the Cavs run the same exact play. This makes no sense considering how it didn't work just before. They burned another timeout. On the third try, you can see LeBron directing traffic, and he moved up higher towards the half-court line. Again, terrible positioning, no screening or cutting, and when LeBron does get the ball, he just waits for the defense to double him, then barrels Mike Dunleavy over for a charge. I brought in Ronnie Nunn, who was an NBA referee for 20 years, to talk about this offensive charge they called on LeBron James. Break it down for us. How do you think that it was processed, and did you feel like it was a good call?
You know, I did. And one of the key pieces to this is on a double team is that once you change your vertical sort of erected position, you develop a new place in which you've allowed a player to take over that position, and you can't get it back in the same location where he's at. And in fact, Dunleavy is erect, which is very good on his end. He's erect, he's filled into a position. Now where LeBron needs to go is where the opening is to regroup himself in his pivot. He needs to go between the two players, might have even created a foul that way, or needs to go away from them to kind of rip through again and get clearance. But he can't get clearance going directly back where he went. And if you slow it down and stop it, you will notice that his body clearly goes towards Dunleavy and takes him out. I think the player was surprised. Now, was it a tremendous, wipeout or something of that? No. But he did clear with his shoulder by going forward to try to get clearance that way. You've got to go to the open space to get clearance once you leave your vertical position and you're kind of yielding away from a double team. You can't go back where people already have taken over in the cylinder of a person. Maybe that makes it clearer.
This leads us to the crazy final sequence. Rose brings it up, Noah is skipping, and here's the problem right off the bat. Thompson should have been ignoring Noah to shadow Rose. Instead, he's too far out of the paint, Shumpert gets blown by, and Rose ties the game up. And then we have something I don't think I've ever seen. I'm not sure you have either. Have you ever seen a coach come on the floor to try and call a timeout that he didn't have, and then somehow get pulled back and somehow nobody saw it?
Yes, I've seen that. And one of the keys to officiating really, because this play needs an explanation as to what the sequence of events. There is no question that everybody knows there's no timeouts left. But sometimes, just like a player who anticipates something too soon and goes for a steal and misses it, and a guy hits a winning shot, or a referee anticipates a contact that didn't occur, and all of a sudden he can't get the air back into his whistle that he let out. And of course, in this situation, a coach appears that it's normal that he would ask for a timeout. But one of the good things in checking this out, if the officials saw it clear enough, he wasn't tremendously overt, and he got onto the floor, but the situation was the clock was dead. If the clock was running where the alert is for officials, I've got to stop the clock and address this. When the clock stops on itself, you can actually look and say, hey, does he really want this timeout? And that pause is enough for the coach to really go back and say, yes, I do, because there's no time lost. So it's not something that could not be fixed, particularly knowing that the official knows he doesn't have the timeout. So you want to be doubly sure that if he's going to put the noose around his neck, he puts it around his neck clearly with time to readjust or whatever he's thinking. And in this case, the player, Coach Lou, who was a fine player, grabs him in time. And I think this is fair play.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm not even sure I agree with you. I really feel like, and by the way, this is the other part of the context. He had no more timeouts to call. So at what point does it become that technical foul when you make that call? We've seen it with Chris Webber in college. The rules might be different, by the way. Maybe you can tell us if it's different in college, but certainly the signal for a timeout, especially the way, you said it wasn't overt, but the guy was past the 3-point line on the floor. That could be a technical foul for not being on the floor.
Well, there's no question. The issue here is it's a simple matter. When coaches call timeouts, they're secondary. They're very difficult to see in a tension-filled situation. They're not the people you're looking at. You're looking at players to call timeout because everybody's looking at players. So there's a cadence to a response to that. And finally, and I honestly believe that when the official had seen it, if he did, I haven't conferenced with them, but if he saw it, it would have surprised him and said, does he really want a timeout? But by the time he says that sentence, Lou gets him. But really, when coaches call timeouts, even though they're permitted in college and high school, college and now the NBA, the bottom line is you've got to acknowledge it and you've got to see it. And you got to see it at the right time. I really think the guys didn't see it because they didn't expect it. And then maybe they saw the regrouping of it being called back by Lou pulling him back, but then it was already gone.
The ball goes out of bounds off the Bulls, and even though the Cavs had no timeouts left, the referees essentially gave them an extra timeout to draw up a play, which LeBron promptly ignores anyway to simply do a V-cut, get a slight step on Butler, and hit this incredibly tough shot. Apparently, Coach Blatt had called the play for LeBron to inbound the ball, which I could understand a little bit, seeing as though LeBron was 9 for 29 from the field up to this point. That said, LeBron proved none of that mattered, and surely we'll get a 7-game series out of all this.